you supposed to be?
Minion.
Yep, this party blows.
Really, man? I don't need that right now. Okay.
What's your problem?
Oh my god, sue me. I thought it would be kind of fun to have a party and then you could get out more, maybe interact with some people outside the apartment.
Right. Look at all these people I'm interacting with.
Look, I don't know why nobody showed up. Like, I put up all these decorations and I planned the whole thing and... I'm sorry, okay? Ugh, let's just tear this crap down. It's stupid anyway, alright?
No, wait.
What?
The night's still young, boy. We can salvage this yet. How about we play your favorite game?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Ghosts, ghouls, goblins, it's that time of year again. And what better way to celebrate this season than play Kingdom Rush's Halloween levels? In fact, why don't we grade each one of these suckers on the spooky scale? For each game, I'm going to play through the Halloween themed levels and grade them in 3 categories: challenge, design, and spook factor. No need for aimless explanations. Let's get playing. You gotta love classic Kingdom Rush. It's the one that started it all. And by golly, it's got a pretty solid Halloween campaign to boot. Rotwick is such a fun introduction to the spooky Kingdom Rush levels. There's everything you could really ask for. Hordes of zombies, hordes of skeletons, a few new enemy types, and a nice spooky vibe. The first level isn't all that hard either, so it's a nice way to ease players into the campaign. I'd say the setting leaves a little bit to be desired though. Everything is just gray, and gray. The second spooky level in Kingdom Rush 1 is Ancient Necropolis, and this one really increases the stakes. The level is essentially 2 separate paths the player has to manage, and the spooky vibes are definitely stronger than the first level too. I like the eerie crypt that glows with a green light on the right side of the map. I also like how this level just throws massive amounts of weak troops at you. It really emphasizes the idea that you're taking on an army of the undead. Ancient Necropolis is the first level that introduces abominations, one of the most annoying troops in these Halloween levels. On the outside, these guys don't look all that bad. Just a big silly zombie, right? Well, yeah. But when you kill an abomination, it explodes and kills all of your friendly troops in a huge range. It's more frustrating than anything, especially when you get waves and waves of them. But what can you do? The third level is this fun little pond scene with a Baba Yaga-esque house. Okay, I like where this is going. Strategy and enemy-wise, this one wasn't quite as fun as the others for me. It just felt cheaper, I guess. Witches spawn from the Baba Yaga house and fly around, turning your soldiers into frogs. And the witches just take so long to kill. It's another troop that doesn't make the game that much more difficult, just more annoying. Nevertheless, there hasn't been that much witch stuff up to this point, so it's kind of fun to play around with that idea a little bit. I gotta say, it's so sad that at the end of the level, the house doesn't stand up with chicken legs and start charging down the path. Just the way it's positioned really makes it look like that's gonna be a mini boss or something. But alas. The final level in the original Kingdom Rush's Halloween campaign is Castle Blackburn. Where's the castle? Oh, come on. With a name like that, you gotta give us a big, cool-looking castle. This is just some broken walls, probably half a mile away from the real deal. As a final level, this is our setting? Besides the lackluster location, Castle Blackburn is exactly what you would expect from a final level of campaign. It's a 3-exit last stand against all of the ghosts and ghouls we've seen up to this point. It takes some nice management of money and troops to beat this level too. Blackburn himself gave me a little bit of a scare with his tower freezing ability, but I was able to drop him with about a third of the track left. And I like his character design, so he gets a pass. All in all, the level is a fun wrap up to the Halloween story. Now to the scales. When I'm measuring the challenge of these levels, super difficult isn't what I'm really looking for. I want a nice middle ground where something isn't super frustrating for no reason, but also not baby mode. If something is rated 5 out of 5, that doesn't mean it's almost impossible to beat. It means I really like the balance of the difficulty in the level. These levels were much more challenging than your average Kingdom Rush map, but I could usually beat them on the first try, and go back for another couple attempts to 3-star it. There were a few annoying elements that artificially made the game slightly harder, but in general I think the difficulty is fairly well balanced. 3 out of 5. In terms of level design, they're all pretty unique, introducing different concepts with each new level. I get a little tired of a bunch of exits, but that's kind of how you have to do it to make the games more difficult. There were a few new fun enemies and interesting levels, but nothing really blew me away. 3 out of 5. If I'm honest, Spook Factor left a little to be desired. They didn't go as far as I would have liked. Lots of gray and scraggled up trees, but that's kind of where the Halloween decoration ends. 2 out of 5. For the first game, the original Kingdom Rush did a pretty good job all in all, and it's got the longest campaign with 4 levels instead of 3. But we still have 3 more games to talk about. Man, you just can't deny the classics, huh?
You said it, DJ.
It's such a bummer nobody showed up. They could have watched this with us.
Yeah.
I even put on the thing that there was going to be free Funyuns and everything. I can't believe nobody...
Damn shame. On to the next game.
Okay.
Many consider Kingdom Rush Frontiers as the golden standard for a Kingdom Rush game. So many fun towers and interesting concepts were introduced in this game, but how does the Halloween campaign stack up? Starting with the first level, we can already see the developers put more time into this part of the game, and I am totally here for it. The first level, Bonesburg, sick name, introduces some cool new things. I specifically like the full moon gameplay gimmick, which, when activated, makes all the enemies faster and more ferocious as they run down the path. It's such a spooky little fun thing, like, yeah, it doesn't really change that much about the game, but it's a nice addition that separates this campaign from the rest of the game. The first level also gives us a new tower to play with, the Dark Forge. Come on, that is so fun. And the Halloween spooky vibes also have more attention to detail. Look at those pumpkins and that scary ghost building. Now that's what I'm talking about. The second level doesn't quite live up to the hype as the first. We've got no free tower to play with, but the layout is pretty interesting. Having the track make this big circle around this one tower spot is just kind of a fun idea that I don't think we've seen at any other part in the game. And this level does introduce a few new enemies that weren't in the original Halloween campaign, mainly ghosts, which is a really great addition because I think it forces you to diversify your tower types. This level also has this little headless horseman that will spawn enemies and just cause trouble in general. It's a cool idea, but he ends up being kind of lame. He doesn't really do all that much. At the end, I was hoping for a little mini boss fight, but, you know, that didn't happen. The final level from this campaign is probably my favorite. Dusk Chateau is an onslaught of all the Halloween creatures we've seen so far. And it's got a big castle. See, this is what was missing from the first game. The level title has castle in it, so we see a huge freaking castle. Also, the vampire theme is so fun. You gotta love vampires. Not to mention the vampire hero we get to control. And they made her super useful against the new enemies, the Vampiraces. So the player is encouraged to use her. All around, this was such a fun boss level. I really liked at the end how the final vampire boss was surrounded by the female vampires that blocked damage for him. What an interesting way to make the boss more tanky without giving him more health or making him freeze towers around him, not looking at anybody in particular. Going to the skills, difficulty felt balanced very well to me. The levels offered a challenge, but they weren't too frustrating. We still got some of the more annoying troops from the first game, like abominations, but you gotta have a little bit of frustration, right? 4 out of 5. I'm gonna rate the level design pretty highly too. You gotta give points for the developers to include a new tower and a new hero for the players to try out. Not to mention they added the full moon element into the mix, and doggone it, I don't know what else I could've asked for. 5 out of 5. Let me tell you, Spook Factor was definitely increased here as well. There were so many more decorations and nods to Halloween references. The castle set piece was used properly, and the enemies felt like they added to the spooky environments. Oh boy, here I go again. 5 out of 5. Okay, maybe I'm just a Frontiers fanboy, but look at all the effort they put into this part of the game. Such a fun campaign.
Now that is hard to beat, huh?
Very true, boy.
Hey, I'm feeling kind of parched. Did you want anything to drink?
Yes. Sure, yes.
Man, I really wish you could have kept using the Dark Forge throughout the rest of the Halloween campaign. I think that'd be kind of a cool addition.
Yeah.
Hey, how much of this did you want, by the way?
Hey, wait!
Jesus! Captain, spill your drink. What? What's up?
I'm actually not very thirsty, so let's just keep watching.
Oh, okay. Just let me clean this up first.
No! We need to watch right now. We need to watch.
Fine, okay. God, don't lose your head.
Origins, if you can believe it, doesn't even have a Halloween campaign. Oh, that is so Origins. This game just takes itself too seriously. Maybe that's why Origins has always seemed dull to me. I don't know why they didn't include one, but there's no Halloween campaign, so I guess we'll just move on.
Alright, okay, good thing that was short because I have to go clean this up.
No, stop! You gotta come back. We gotta keep watching this.
God, what is your problem, man?
You don't need to do it. We gotta keep watching this. Wait, DJ, I just really think you should.
What is this doing here?
On to the last game.
Call me crazy, but I think people dog on Vengeance too much. Sure, it's not as polished as some of the other games, and it does lean into the pay-to-win more than any of the other games, but it still introduces a lot of new ideas that I think were really good for the series as a whole, whether you really like them or not. While it's not as Halloween-centric as the first two Kingdom Rush games, I consider Back to the Rotten Forest and the two subsequent levels to be Vengeance's Halloween campaign. I mean, it's full of ghosts and skeletons and werewolves, so it basically fits the mold. Anyways, the first level throws you right into the action. We've got 2 separate tracks to manage, and they introduce a few new Vengeance enemies I'd like to talk about: Haunted Skeletons and Bone Carriers. Okay, why the hell did they make these look so similar? They have different resistances, but they don't look like it at all. Actually, there's just so many confusing things about what has certain resistances, like even with the Corrosive Souls and Liches we see later on. What are we doing here? First level is fine, nothing really all that special. It's kind of a nice challenge, especially as a starting point. And the way I was playing, I didn't have a bunch of overpowered heroes to bring to the fight, so it takes a little more strategy to manage the enemies. The next level is pretty similar to the first, except the annoying things from the first level just frustrated me even more. Like, why do the frickin' brambles grow so fast on your towers? It's literally like 30 seconds and then it'll come back. And I don't even really know what it does. Like, does it just block me from upgrading the tower until I pay money to get rid of it? Or is it making the tower shoot slower? And oh crap, I was just literally about to upgrade something when the roots grow and they kicked me out of the menu. And wait a second, can the barracks troops respawn if it's covered in brambles? There was just so many questions, and the brambles were so constant, it was really starting to annoy me. And the brambles really don't change anything about the game, except now you have an extra step that just slows you down. The second level introduces a few new enemies you have to learn to face, but they're kinda lame, so let's just move on. The third and final level of the campaign is the Ancient Ghosts, which, really guys, that's the best we've got. Anyways, it's really just more of the last two. No new enemies or ideas are really thrown into this one. And those damn brambles are still all over the place. Like I said about the last one, this level is more frustrating than anything. Which really wasn't helped by the fact that I didn't kill one of the bosses at the end, so 20 minutes of gameplay was basically a wash. Also, the bosses feel pretty generic to me. Oh boy, a blue ghost, and oh my gosh, there's a purple one too? And guess what? One of them has magic resistance, and the other has physical. But from their designs, it's not obvious which one is which. You might say, well DJ, the purple one is resistant to magic because regular ghosts are blue, and you have to hit them with magic. Right, that makes sense with Corrosive Souls because they're blue, and they have resistance to physical damage. So if it's blue, you should hit it with magic, I guess. Wrong. The blue ghost is immune to magic, and the purple ghost is immune to physical damage. See, everything is just so freaking confusing. Let's talk about the scale now. These Vengeance levels were a lot harder for me than the other Halloween levels from past games, but by exploiting the best towers, you can make it far easier on yourself. But I have to admit, these levels were just filled with annoying garbage you constantly have to manage. In general, it was a challenge, but not the fun kind. But I don't really want to rate it a 1, so 2 out of 5 it is. Okay, level design. So the first one is 2 paths that are basically separate. The second one is 2 paths that are basically separate. And the third one is 2 paths that are basically separate. Oh, and don't forget about those awesome brambles that are all over the place. If you can't tell, I don't like the level design all that much. 1 out of 5. Spook factor is going to be a little tough, okay? It's not really a Halloween campaign, so I can't necessarily rank them 1-to-1 with the others. However, I do kind of like the art style of Vengeance. The colors are much more vibrant, the sprites are much cleaner. Sure, the environments are mostly green and gray for these levels, but your towers and characters bring so much life to them. 4 out of 5. And that's all the Halloween campaigns from Kingdom Rush. Based on the scales, it's pretty clear that Frontier had my favorite levels, but I think they're all worth a playthrough. Especially if you want a little spookiness this Halloween.
Look, I'm so sorry, boy.
Send out the invites, Captain. That was your one job.
I know. I just...
What? You just what?
Well, I thought it'd be nice to spend the Halloween just you and I. I really am sorry, DJ.
It's alright, Captain.
And hey, look at all the fun we've had.
I guess it was pretty fun to go through those levels, wasn't it?
Oh, and the decorations were perfect for the game.
So true. It actually does make a pretty nice atmosphere in here. Oh, and don't forget those Funyuns.
Oh boy, I could eat those for days.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, happy Halloween, Captain.